Hello, welcome back to another Mom Life Pep Talk. I had a client come to me and she was talking about how she was always snapping at her kids and she didn't like it. She was snapping at her husband and she was just super frustrated. And I remember she kept telling me, she's like, this is not the mom that I want to be. And I am going to tell you, the first part of my journey began exactly like this. I was not the mom that I wanted to be. I was snapping at my kids. I was so overwhelmed. Life did not feel good. But I had checked all the boxes. So I would put on my happy face and go out in public and go to family functions and just pretend that everything was fine and dandy when in reality, inside, I just knew I wasn't being the person that I wanted to be. I knew that I was meant for more. And I really didn't know where to begin to shift that. And so it turned into a ton of trial and error, first off, and just trying to find my way through so that I could get rid of the feeling of being triggered. You know, that feeling when your kid's doing something super annoying and immediately you snap to this angry feeling and you can feel it in your body. That is how I lived my life. I reacted to everything. I didn't necessarily choose the way I wanted to respond to anything. I just thought that I had to take life as it came. I didn't have a choice. The circumstance I was in, and I felt so stuck. And one day I just remember, and I think that a lot of things led up. So I don't want to say one day I woke up and I was pissed, but one day, because, before that, I've told this story before about my sister-in-law telling me at a family barbecue, she was like, "You're not happy." And I was like, "What?" And she said, "I can see it. You're not happy." And I just thought it was really interesting of her to bring that up. And she was right. She was right. And so I think that kind of started me down the path. I was already sort of on the path of personal development by that point, anyways, but I really didn't know what to do, how to do it, how to get out of the situation that we were in, the tight financial circumstances, living paycheck to paycheck. Both of us were working. We weren't making a ton of money, trying to raise kids. We had the house, we had everything that we thought we should have to be happy, right? It's the American dream. We checked off all the boxes, and yet it still felt shitty. I'm not gonna lie. And I just felt this person deep down inside that knew she was meant for more. And maybe you feel that too. Maybe you are super overwhelmed. You feel like there's too much on your plate, almost like life is just too much to handle. And so I continued down the personal development journey. And then one day I got pissed. I think I was a little pissed this whole time, but one day was the day that I finally decided. And maybe you're in that space that you are like, okay, I am done. I'm done with life feeling this way. I am done with life being this way. And you are ready to take action. And this is where I had to get to finally, honestly, invest in myself or look for any and all other options. And obviously, I wasn't getting there on my own. I had been doing the work for a while and I needed help. I needed support. I needed to surround myself with people who gave me a complete perspective shift. And that is what joining my first program and hiring my first coach did for me. Was, you know how you always hear the people you surround yourself with, you are the average of the 5 people you surround yourself with the most. And when you surround yourself with low-level thinking people, when you surround yourself with woe is me people who just want to get together and complain about life and how big of an a-hole their kid was. I had a friend that used to call her kids little assholes all the time, and it was so painful to listen to sometimes. But then I noticed that I started to kind of have the same perspective. And so if you think about the people that you're hanging out with, who are you surrounding yourself with? How do they talk about life? How do they talk about raising kids? And then you get to decide, is that serving you or is it not? And the thing that really helped me expand my capacity was breath work. And when breathwork found me, I was in a really low place. I 2022 was kind of an interesting year for me. The beginning of the year, I had a lot of coaches. I had just gotten out of the Fast Foundations mastermind. I had hired a sales coach who, I mean, she was phenomenal. But then I had a few other coaches, all with differing opinions. And I quit trusting myself because I was trying to listen to everybody else, but there were so many conflicting responses to my questions that I would ask each coach. And I got really, really lost. And then I hired a mindset coach. She's a dear friend of mine, Andrea Crisp. She actually loves breathwork as well. We do a session together. She's a client of mine, a breathwork client. We do a session together about once a week. And it is just such a beautiful thing to have hired her, and she kind of got me out of that rut and back into trusting myself. And then shortly after, it was while we were still working together, I had been asking myself, what do I need? What do I need? And I was like, oh, I want to get in the room with like some of my ideal clients. And at the time, I thought my ideal client was a photographer, just getting her business started because I grew a photography business. And that mastermind was not a good fit. It kind of showed me the shady side of what the coaching industry can hold. And so I had to work through a lot of that. And at that point, I was like, you know what? I am not jumping into any other programs. I am not hiring another coach. And I dove into myself. And that is what led me through. So that was the mastermind experience was like in May. And I stopped all coaching. I didn't go to the mastermind anymore, obviously. And I took the summer to really work on me. That is when I found Gabby Bernstein and The Universe Has Your Back. And I think I read another one of her books. I did all of the homework, went through it. And then at the end of September, my dad ended up getting hit by a car. And he was in the hospital for 2.5 weeks before passing away. And what is interesting is I don't know why I even hopped on the Pause Breathwork website. I knew I was looking for something to help me heal, to help me release trauma that I knew I was hanging on to. I wanted something ultimately to help me get past the income level I was at. I felt really stuck at the income level that I was at. I didn't know how to bust through that glass ceiling I had placed on myself. And I knew that mindset wasn't going to get me there. I felt like I needed more. Found myself on a call. I jumped into the program on a Friday. The program started Monday. My dad passed away Wednesday, and I actually was already registered for this healing retreat the next weekend. And I was like, I'm a firm believer that the synchronicities in life, like it's just too synchronistic to not go. And I went to this event and they had somebody facilitate an in-person breathwork session, and I was cracked wide open. And so now going through the 6-month pause breathwork certification, it's a trauma-informed facilitator certification. The first 3 months are spent working on us. We have to go to mentor-led breathwork sessions every single week. We had to fill out integration forms. Like it was an intense program. And 3 months in, they had us reflect back on our journey. And as I started reflecting, I was like, oh my gosh, I am not the same person that I was back in October. And what I had started noticing is I was able to handle that experience with my dad. I was able to handle dealing with his family. I was able to handle everything else that I needed to handle. And I no longer felt that overwhelming sense of overwhelm. I mean, I didn't feel it anymore. And one thing that really caught me is, you know how sometimes your kids will make like a snarky comment and it triggers you immediately, and you basically want to just like kill your kid in that moment? It was shortly after that that I one of my daughters said something that normally sets me off, like triggers me a little bit, and I felt nothing. And I noticed. And I was like, "Oh my gosh, this is crazy. It didn't even affect me." And what I've come to realize is that I have expanded my capacity to handle more. So, what if you allowed yourself to just trust you to expand your capacity for more? I think a lot of times we avoid doing things or we avoid certain situations because we know we're going to be drained after. But what if you knew how to protect your energy? What if you knew how to show up as the best version of you so that you didn't get drained, you didn't get triggered because you expanded your capacity to hold more? And that is what breath work does for you. And that is what the breathwork method does for you. It's a framework that I have created around breath work that truly helps you tap into that version of you that you want to be now, that expanded version of you that has the capacity to hold space for more. And so if you want to try a breathwork session, I offer a free integrative session, and I will put the link in the show notes for you to hop onto Calendly, book a session, and try it out. Because what it has done for me, I can't even describe. I can't even describe. I am not the same person inside my body. And I have broken through those glass ceilings, and I have gotten past things that should have knocked me down in a matter of days instead of weeks or months. And so if this is something that you want as a mom, if you are done snapping at your kids, if you're done reacting to life and you want it to feel good and you want to have the tools to help you handle everything that life might throw your way, breathwork might be it for you. It is a somatic form of healing. It is a bottom up approach. You cannot mindset your way through everything. You just can't. And this allows you to release the things that are holding you back so that you really start to become the mom and the partner and the woman that you want to be. So if that feels right for you, I'm going to drop a link in the show notes to book a free integrative breathwork session. The breathing portion of this is less than 7 minutes, and one-to-one is super powerful. We will come up with a custom affirmation just for you. We will talk about where you are at. This will be a customized session catered to you and helping you breathe through whatever you might be struggling with in your life. So if that is for you, click the link below, get on the calendar, and let's expand your capacity to be able to hold more. I will talk to you next time.